that day we just installed the emulator and we didn't go through it, right? So
No.
basically, yeah. So basically, once you have set up your hardware in place in the lab, that day we in the past 2-3 classes we have discussed that first you need to basically unwrap the equipment and put it into the rack, right? And do the physical
Mhm.
connectivity as per. Go on.
Yes, yes. Yeah, go ahead, please.
You're saying something?
No, no, please go
So
ahead.
you need to unwrap the hardware and put it into the rack, right? So the hardware will be in the initial phase two fabric interconnect, right? And let's say you are starting with one chassis, right? So if there will be one chassis and you're starting with 8 servers or one server, whatever. So the servers are there in the chassis. So first you need to do the physical connectivity. So you remember the diagram which we talked about the architecture, how things are getting connected,
Yes, I remember that.
right?
Mhm.
So you need to do. Let me quickly.
I'll
Uh,
be on mute, okay? You just keep
uh,
explaining me that.
yeah, yeah. Can you just give me? Okay. So, Gaurav,
Mm-hmm.
so this is the architecture we were talking about, right? So you
Yes.
have, see, this is your part below the FIA and FIB, and this is the chassis having 8 servers, and this
Yes.
is the IO module section, okay?
2, 4, or 8.
IOM section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So basically, you need to there's a specific cable which we need to connect from your IO module to fabric interconnect. So in the fabric interconnect, as we discussed, there's a back plane or the control plane where you have depend upon the model the number of ports, right? You have, let's say,
Yes.
48 ports, or you have 96 ports. Okay, so
Yes.
whatever the number of port doesn't matter. You just need to need some port in order to connect your IO module. So if you have a IO module which is, let's say, starting with 4 ports, okay, so what you need to do, basically, you need to lay down the cable from IO module 1, 4 cables. Okay, not this. Okay, one sec.
So it goes into FIA only, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other side
yeah,
goes
yeah.
into FIB. Correct?
Okay. So yeah, yes. Your notice looks very slow. Okay.
Yeah.
So there will be, let's say, 4 cables which should go from here to 4 port. Okay.
Yeah.
In the initially, when, let's say, you are in the data center, you are doing this cabling work.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And in the same fashion, you need to do it here.
Yes.
1, 2. Okay. And as I told you, like in the Nexus, you need to, it will be
Cross
cross
connection.
cross. So one cable you need to connect from here to here. Okay.
Hmm.
And one, it will go from here to here. Okay. In the
Yes.
same fashion, one will go from here to here, and like this. Okay. And
Yes.
one port, so 2 port you have used for your network. Let's say if you are laying only 2 cable, okay, you're not going with port channel. Okay.
Okay.
This is single cable.
Yeah.
So 2 ports you required here, right, in the fabric internet for network, in this fabric internet, and 2 port you required in FIB for this network connectivity.
Correct.
And one cable you will be laying one port you're using from fabric internet A to switch SAN switch A, and one cable you're using for SAN switch B.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So this is only you're going with one cable. Okay, so you need one port, right? If you're going with two cable from from here to so if you're going with port channel, definitely you'll go with port channel. As I told you, let's say if this link goes down or if this cable goes faulty, then you will lose your connectivity with your SAN switch, right?
Yes.
So we never go with this single link approach. So the intention of this diagram is to just show you that how the connectivity. So if it is one cable, then you need one port. If there are two cables, then you need basically two port, right? So
Yes.
we will be, I will be dropping this way, and two port will be using here two.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
and in the same way for the next step, we will be yeah, that is okay. That's fair enough. We can use, so if you see in fabric internet, there are two cables are going right out. One is going on
Yes.
SAN switch A, so network switch A. Another port on the same fabric is going on nexus B, right?
Yes.
So you can also increase the number of uplinks here. Like instead of one cable going on SAN switch A, you can also connect two cables. Okay,
Acha.
two
Okay.
cables, and uh, uh, in the same way, two cables from here to here, and two from here to here, and two from here to here. Okay, depend upon what kind of configuration you want to do. Fine.
Okay.
So this is how you gonna. So let's say you are in the data center and you have your fabric. So fabric in you put in the rack, fabric in B you put in the rack, you power on the cable connected on the fabric internet, and these are the two you need
L1,
to
L1,
also
L2.
L1, L1, L2. Okay, remember. Okay, so this is the L1 and L2 you connect. So four cable you will connect from here to here, and four cable you will connect from here to here, and four two cables you will choose some port, and you will connect from here to SAN switch and from here to SAN switch B, and this is B. Now which port you need to select, right? Let's say I told you, right, you need to lay down some two cables from SAN switch A to here, and
Yes.
from fabric internet to your nexus. So you need to select some port, right? Let's say 1
Correct.
to 96 port are there, so you need to select port number 1, 2, or 5, or 6, or 100, or 50, or 60, which port. So that you need to choose according to. We'll talk about in the next in few minutes, like how
Okay.
you gonna decide which port you need to connect. So the intention at this point, just to make sure that you need to lay down two cables, right?
Okay.
Two cables from
Yes.
here. The selection of port I'll tell you in coming few minutes. So let's say you have did this kind of configuration and you power on the fabric interconnect, and so in the very first stage you need to basically assign the IP on the fabric interconnect A, right? So as I told you, that needs to be get it done via
Network team.
your not network team. Network team will give you the IP. You will
By
ask
management
them
port.
that please,
Ma-
yeah, via your console port basically.
Console port. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
because management port is basically for your Ethernet connectivity, that you will connect from a cable from your management port to your some patch panel or some network switch which network team says. But in order to
Okay.
configure it, so it will get the network connectivity from that cable, management cable, right? Management port or
Hmm.
management from the management cable. But you need to feed some information into your fabric internet, right? That feeding of information is basically always from your console port.
Yes.
So there is a console cable. You connect the console cable to the console port, and at the other end you will connect to your laptop. Okay,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
through putty also, there's an option in the putty for the console that you can also choose, and there are other software also comes. Okay, so
Okay.
that so via that you need to configure the IP on the fabric internet. So let me show you, because in this emulator that option is not, it didn't came, right? Because it did directly launch your fabric internet, sorry, launch your UCS manager. You can see the UCS manager is launched, right?
Yeah.
But in real scenario, the UCS manager won't launch. Why? Because you don't have the IP. Since in the emulator you have shown you got the IP and you just type in HTTPS and some IP, and it launched the UI, right? But in reality, you need to configure the IP first, right? Because in emulator you didn't configure the IP; it automatically get configured.
Correct. Correct.
But in real scenario, you need to configure the IP until or unless you won't configure the IP, you won't see the fabric interconnect accessible, correct?
Okay.
Or
Okay.
in any server, let's say your brocade switch, you let's say you procured one brocade switch, right? In order to
Hmm.
access the brocade switch from putty or from UI, you always configure IP, right? Before, until
Hmm.
unless you don't configure the IP, you won't be able to access your brocade switch or your array,
Yes. 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 Yes.
right? First,
Hmm.
the storage engineer will go visit to the data center and he will configure the IP via
Yes.
some way. Then
Yes. Yes.
only you will access from browser, right? So
Yes.
I'll tell you what are the steps it's gonna involve in order to configure the IP. One second. Let me send you one link. Can you open this in your in the browser YouTube? One
Okay.
sec. In the chat, you can see the message. You got it?
एक minute. Let me copy it in a.
Yeah. इसको बड़ा करो, गिव मी
एक
ये।
मिनट,
हम्म
सेल्फ ईमेल कर लूँ मैं।
हम्म
ओके,
स्क्रीन शायद मुझे बहुत ज्यादा डिले आ रहा है। कर लिया क्या?
कर लिया। ओके, यू वांट टू? ओके,
या मुझे इसमें जाना है, इसमें
गॉट इट।
नहीं, मुझे आई नीड टू क्लिक ऑन दिस Cisco UCS Manager initial strategy YouTube link.
हाँ,
Do I have the control?
या डू यू हैव द कंसर्न?
Yeah, I think, yeah. Okay.
यप, या राइट।
मोबाइल डेटा से चलाते शायद तो और फास्ट चल जाता ना, आई थिंक।
नहीं नहीं,
हमारा अगर स्लो है
ना,
तो, because it is very very slow.
आज मैनेज कर लो, कल हो जाएगा नॉर्मल, कल हो आने वाला है एक्सपेक्टेशन।
ओके, ये स्क्रीन फुल हुई क्या? हाँ, हो गई।
आई कैन सी द लिंक।
ओके ओके, ठीक है। सो मुझे बहुत ज्यादा ब्लर दिख रहा है ना। ओके, looks fine now. So let's say you have connected the console cable from your UCS to your laptop, right? And then from the putty, basically you need to there's a tab called in the putty hyper terminal something.
ओके,
Okay, one
हाँ,
second, let me
HTTP
show
या
you. हाँ हाँ, तो
ये रहा, आई विल शो यू, आई हैव पट्टी हियर।
हाँ,
You want which tab you are talking about? There is a telnet SSH.
one second, let me find out. Give me 1 minute.
Sure.
See, there's a tab called serial, right?
हाँ, okay, serial. Yes.
So in the serial, these are the basic settings. So I think this is gonna support these basic settings. If not, then probably we need to change these settings. So like say COM1, COM2. So COM1 is nothing like this. It's just say the serial cable which you have connected from your Fairback internet to your laptop. So I think these basic set configuration will work. So you need to keep the speed as 9600 and data bits 8 and stop bit 1. And just when you
Okay.
click on open, it will open with this kind of information. Some
Okay.
as you're seeing in the screen, right? So it will
Okay.
basically it start with your first option. If you're seeing, it will say you enter the configuration method. You're seeing this line, enter the configuration method.
एक मिनट,
ये जो लाइन है यहाँ 20 से नीचे में आओगे।
20 से नीचे।
हाँ, ये एंटर द कन्फिगरेशन मेथड करके आ रहा है ना।
एक मिनट, किसके ऊपर?
ये मैंने कर्सर रखा हुआ है।
Enter the configuration method, right? Right.
ठीक है, तो ये
Okay.
पहली स्टेप होती है जो जब तुम्हें दिखेगी, ठीक है। इट
Okay.
विल, दिस इज द
Okay.
फर्स्ट स्टेप, इट सेज दैट हाउ यू वांट टू कॉन्फ़िगर योर यूआई, ओके।
Okay.
So
Okay.
you either you can say console or you'll say GUI, ठीक है। So you'll say,
Okay.
let's say you collected the, since you connected from the console, so you will definitely gonna choose this console option,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
तुमने बोला कि कंसोल से मुझे करना है, तो नेक्स्ट स्टेप उसने पूछा कि दिस एंटर द सेटअप मोड, सेटअप न्यूली और रिस्टोर फ्रॉम बैकअप। तो
Okay.
हम ये न्यू सेटअप कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। तो तुम्हें यहाँ पे सेटअप या रिस्टोर में से एक ऑप्शन चुनना है। याद रखना इसकी हम बात करेंगे, ठीक है। ये लाइन अच्छे से
Okay.
याद रखना है, ये सेकंड वाली लाइन, न्यूली
Okay.
सेटअप और रिस्टोर फ्रॉम बैकअप। हम बाद में जब बैकअप की बात करेंगे तो वी विल टॉक अबाउट दिस लाइन, ओके।
Okay.
तो अभी अभी चूंकि तुम नया सेटअप कर रहे हो, सो यू विल सेलेक्ट से सेटअप। वंस यू से सेटअप, इट विल गो विद द नेक्स्ट line that you have chosen a new fabric interconnect, continue yes or no. So definitely you'll say yes, right? And enforce a strong password. So it will ask you, you want to enforce the strong password, yes or no. So whatever, you can choose yes also, or you can choose no also. If you're choosing yes, then you need to give a lengthy password, a complex lengthy password, okay.
Okay.
If you choose no, then basically the small password will work, like 7 character. So you need to give the password of for admin, and it will confirm the password for admin. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Because right now you launch the UCSM, you were given the username UPSE and password you also given UPSE, right?
Correct. Correct.
But in real scenario there's no UPSE something, because in real scenario the default user in UCS is always admin. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe in your broker you have root or admin. There are only two
Admin.
username by
Yeah.
default in any
Yes.
hardware it comes up with, okay. So the
Correct.
username is admin, and the password will be you are typing whatever the password you want to give. Now it will say that is this fabric internet part of a cluster. So as I told you, you will be having two node, right?
Yes.
So you will
FIA,
say
FIB.
yeah, yes, FIA and FIB. If not, let's say you are starting with only one fabric interconnect. Okay, this also I want to tell you. You can also start always with one fabric interconnect. Okay, let's say you don't have money and you want to run a UCS setup. So in order to instead of buying two fabric interconnect, if it's small scale industry, a small scale project, you can always go with one fabric interconnect. Let's say your testing environment, you don't need any redundancy in your testing, you're in your lab.
Yes.
So you will say, you manage, okay, I will manage with one fabric interconnect. So there's
Okay.
no two fabric interconnect, right? So you will, or you won't choose yes, you will choose here no, because you have only one fabric interconnect.
Okay.
So you can always configure a fabric in a standalone mode. Later on, if let's say later on, if you want to introduce another fabric interconnect and put in a cluster way, run in a cluster way, you will always able to do it. Okay, and then you just need to enable the cluster in the fabric interconnect.
Okay.
So just make a note or keep in mind that you can always go from a standalone to cluster, but there's no way of coming back.
Okay.
There's no way of coming back in the sense from cluster to standalone.
Okay.
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 So when you choose an option yes, it will ask you enter the switch fabric ID. So let's say you given the name A here.
Okay.
Okay. Ideally, we always prefer A or B. You can also use XYZ also, but
Mhm.
let's go with the standard industry convention, right?
Sure. Okay.
You can give anything. You can